This is part 3, the final segment for Chapter 7 on the marketing plan. Once you get all the information, you then have to sit down and figure out what it all means. You need to be able to analyze the statistics as well as use entrepreneurial insight to interpret the meaning of the data generated. Now let's look at target markets. A market is a group of customers or potential customers who have purchasing power and unsatisfied needs. Market segmentation is the division of a market into several smaller groups with similar needs and likely to respond favorably to the same marketing strategy. Markets are usually segmented according to benefit or demographic variables. Benefit variables are based on customer needs. Demographic variables includes things like potential customers' age, sex, education, income, and the like, and what their purchasing power could be. Entrepreneurs adopt their marketing strategy based on segmentation considerations. An unsegmented strategy is sometimes referred to as mass marketing. In this strategy, everyone in the market is considered a potential customer. Your text uses the example of trying to sell a mechanical pencil to these different target markets. In an unsegmented market strategy, you would basically try and sell this pencil to all potential users, anyone who might use a writing instrument. The multi-segmentation strategy offers unique marketing mixes for various population segments. In thinking about how you'd sell a felt tip pen within the multi-segment market strategy, you'd have a variety of marketing mixes. In one marketing mix, you try and target students, and you do this through campus newspapers and distribute the campus newspapers through bookstores to reach this target market. In your second marketing mix, you try and target professors using felt tip pens and reach them through professional magazines. In your third marketing mix, you would try and reach executives, professional executives through department stores, and your promotion method would be personal selling. You can see that with each target market you're trying to reach, the felt tip pen varies in price. So when you're trying to market to students, the pen would be about $1.19. When you're trying to market to professors, maybe they'd be slightly nicer and the price goes up to $1.98. When you're marketing to executives, you're possibly selling gold fountain pens, in which case the price would be $200. So clearly very different target markets, slightly different pens for each target market, and very different prices. The single segmentation strategy recognizes the existence of several segments but targets one segment that the firm believes will be most profitable. This is usually the best strategy for small firms. The single segmentation strategy usually allows small firms to use their limited resources more efficiently. So in going back to the felt tip pen example, with a single segmented market strategy, you would use one marketing mix. And in this example, you would choose to focus on students and promote through campus newspapers and distribute them in bookstores. Focus strategy is a type of competitive strategy in which cost and differentiation-based advantages are achieved within narrow market segments. A sales forecast is a prediction of how much of a product or service will be purchased within a market during a specific period of time. A sales forecast assesses the new venture's feasibility, and it assists in planning for product scheduling, setting inventory levels, and personnel decisions. The market must be defined precisely if forecasts are to be accurate, and the forecast is critical to assessing the feasibility of a new venture. Obviously, there are a lot of limitations to forecasting. If forecasting was accurate, then every entrepreneur would be incredibly successful. It can be difficult for entrepreneurs because there are so many unknown variables. It's hard to know what the economy will be doing, and also the business may be unique, so there may be no past trends to analyze. Small firms are typically poor at forecasting compared to large firms, mainly because they don't have the resources and the experience required to do it effectively. Entrepreneurs new to small business also lack the familiarity with quantitative methods. But despite forecasting limitations, a sales forecast still needs to be made as effectively as possible by using all of the resources available. It's just not a step that you can skip. As you can see from this chart, there are certain conditions that make forecasting easier. Forecasting goes better when it's an established business, when there's an experienced entrepreneur or manager doing the forecasting, and when the entrepreneur is familiar with the forecasting techniques. Forecasting is more difficult when it's a new venture, especially if it's a unique venture that hasn't been tackled before. Forecasting is also more difficult when the entrepreneur or the manager has limited experience and when they just don't understand how to use quantitative methods or really understand forecasting techniques. The forecasting process has two dimensions. With the breakdown process or chain ratio method, forecasting begins with macro level variables and works down to the sales forecast. This is a top-down approach. This means that you start with the population figure for the target market and determine a percentage that can be served. In contrast, the build-up process is where you estimate the market potential from all likely segments and combine these. All potential buyers in various submarkets are identified, and then the estimated demand is added up. This is a bottom-up approach. Direct forecasting uses sales as the predicting variable. Indirect forecasting, on the other hand, uses surrogate variables related to sales as proxies to project future sales. You've reached the end of the lecture for Chapter 7. Thanks so much for viewing this presentation, and I look forward to reading your work for the marketing plan.